We are all
That's
learning. Okay, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. So I have tried to just make simple slides. I may not remember everything, so please interrupt, Prabhu, wherever is needed. So this first verse that we did last time is from the 5 sections that we've discussed, from Shraddha to Prema Bhakti and Bhava and Prema Bhakti. So this falls under the first section of NOI. And even within that first section, we discussed that in the verses 1 to 7, they are more from Vedahi Sadhana Bhakti as well. So the first verse talks about the rituals and practices that we need to do to become Krishna conscious. So that's the background of that verse. And this verse specifically talks about controlling 6 urges that will help us to become dhira, as the word is written in the verse, or a sadhu, or become Krishna conscious, as is written in the purport. And then how it connects to verses 2 and 3 is that verses 2 and 3 then talk about the 6 things that will make it harder and easier to practice this verse. So these 6 controls that we are trying to do, what are the things we shouldn't be doing so it becomes harder, and what are the things that we should be doing so it becomes easier for us to practice or control the 6 urges, is how it connects to the following 2 verses. Prabhu also mentioned last time that it's a very important verse, and we spoke about how some verses are repeated in various scriptures, and this verse it also is written in a similar form or fashion in Mahabharata, as Bhakti Siddhanta Maharaj had quoted. So that's just a background of this verse. We go to the next slide. How does it go? Okay. So when we read the purport here, the starting of this verse, there is some conversation between King Parikshit Maharaj and Shukadev Goswami, where King Parikshit Maharaj is questioning about what is atonement and why people do atonement. And then he gives 3 examples where he's saying that although people are doing atonement, it's more of a fake atonement. And then he questions what is real atonement. So, for example, he says that thieves, they go to the jail, they know that stealing is not good, they've seen people getting into the prison, but they don't learn from it. They themselves get punished and they still re-steal again. The elephant example, as we know, they take bath, they come back and they put themselves in the mud again and they become dirty again. And then he also mentions about how people go to church, they kind of for atonement, but then they commit the same sin again the following week after they come back from church. So people are doing a lot of fake atonements or fake pashyataps, as it's written in the world, which is not the right way. So then he's questioning what is real atonement? And Sukdev Goswami says that real atonement is actually awakening of our bhakti, of our Krishna consciousness. So this verse then actually helps us give 6 solid practices that can help us to revive our prema, our Krishna, our consciousness for Krishna, and can help us in actually achieving the real atonement. And that's how Rupa Goswami is then explaining what are those 6 practices that we should be doing to revive that Krishna consciousness. So in this verse, as we have read, Vacho Vegam, Manasa Krodha Vegam, if we go word by word. So Vacho, it's Vacha, which means speech. Vegam, as Prabhu mentioned last time. So there are a few, Prabhupada writes it as urge in this translation. But it also means urgency. It also means which has to be done with the speed. So something that we want to just do at one go without even thinking about it, and we just press the button and off we go. So Vegam, Manasa is of mind. Krodha, we all know, anger. Again, the word Vegam is associated with each of these 3. So there are 3 in the first line. So speech, mind, anger. That's 3. The 4th one is Jivva Vegam, so tongue, and Udaro Pashta Vegam. So that's one word, but it has 2, which is belly and genitals. So that covers 6 urges in the first 2 lines. Etan means all these. So all of these 6 vegans, the urges that we have. Yo means that person, whoever that person is. Visha Heta. Heta means he captures them, or he has, control, a powerful control, Vishaheta. who is that person? That person is Dhira. So Dhira, the last line, the last word in the third line is important. Dhira, Prabhupada writes it as sober. We also discuss it also means sadhu in this case. And then even in the last line, it then further, expands on it. So sarvam apiham. So sarvam means, sarvam is actually associated with prithvim in this last line. Sarvam means all, prithvim means world. Apiham means, api means certainly. Whoever that dhira person, etan, all of this urges, vishaheta, who controls, sarvam prithvim, all of in all of this world, apimam. So certainly, sir shishyat, he can make, shishyat means disciples. So dhira and shishyat basically, dhira and shishyat basically are basically, associated with the word sadhu. And we all know sadhu is someone who not only does his sadhana, but also help people doing sadhana. So this verse talks about even the qualities of a guru, because that's really important, because they not just do their own sadhana, but help others do their sadhana. So they help us in starting our spiritual journey, which is really important. So these are the 6 qualities that have been described to control, or if you see someone controlling these, that person is a sadhu. So then if we go word by word, so the urge by urge, the first urge is vacho vegam, so controlling speech. So in the purport, it's written really well about how people have the urges of speaking nonsense. So Prabhupada gives example of croaking of toad, where he's just randomly croaking. He doesn't know that by his speech or his noise, he's actually inviting death or snake towards him. So similarly, a lot of Mayavadis, not just Mayavadis, I would say people like us, we speak a lot of nonsense stuff, which is not useful. So if we practically think about it, it's not just Mayavadis, but in our own life, we speak a lot of stuff that is not needed. And it's nothing but just passing our time, and we are getting closer to that. However, it is really hard, especially being mona is not something that is, or being silent is not something that is possible in this Kali Yuga, at least. So vacho vegam, when I read into the purport, I really like the word controlled speech. So it's not stopping speech, but how you can have a controlled speech. And that controlled speech was directly linked to controlling your speech by doing Krishna Katha, so glorifying his names, his forms, qualities, and pastimes. So that is how we can actually have a control over this urge of speaking. Prabhu, if there's anything to add, please do. Now the next word is manasa vegam, so controlling mind. Now we know how hard it is, and Krishna repeatedly spoke about it in Bhagavad Gita, about the fickleness of mind, and it's something that's really hard to control. But there is only one Ramban for that, is we can control is by fixing our mind on something else. And again, Prabhupada writes it really well in the purport that Krishna is like sun and Maya is darkness. So if we have our mind fixated on the sun, there would be no darkness, no agitations in our mind. So that's the only way we can control the agitations, is to actually have our mind fixated on Lord. And vacuum doesn't last. So thinking that, I will not think for the next 15 minutes what to say. 15 minutes is a very long time, actually. 30 seconds also, it becomes really hard. So vacuum doesn't help, doesn't last. So we can only do one thing, is we can think about how we can serve Krishna, and naturally we can control our mind, and our mind can be just, how we say, dovetailed to something else where we can control, or to Krishna. So it helps to controlling our mind. We also discussed 2 examples from this particular urge, where we said one of the positive examples of how someone can have a fixed mind was Arjun, where Urvashi actually proposed to Arjun, but he was really strong to say that, I'm very fixated, and he was a devotee of Krishna, and he declined Urvashi's proposal. And we know that even for that, he got a curse, but he was very happy to take the curse on board and even utilize the curse in a positive way. So even he took that as Krishna's blessings and utilized it in a very positive way. At the same time, Ajamila, we heard as who could not control his mind, although he was very knowledgeable, but then even he got, so it is really strong. Maya is really strong. So despite being knowledgeable, Ajamil actually could not resist his urge, and he got he fell off. So I think it's what we learned from here is that we just have to keep praying to Krishna that we don't fall into that, because it is really hard to control our mind. So that was the second one. The third one was Krodha Vegam. So you nicely mentioned, Prabhu, that the word anger is one letter smaller than danger. And then we discussed two examples again. One was Durvasa Muni, how he got into the trouble of obviously, you know, with Amrish Maharaj, and how Krishna, when he went to Vishnu, he said only person who can protect you now is Amrish Maharaj himself. So again, he got very angry, which clearly shows that even someone like Durvasa Muni, I know we do talk about him, about his anger, but he's a devotee, he's a very high person, and he gets angry as well, which shows that it is something that for us, like, it is something that is very common. I would say I don't know, if you think about today, if I think about today, I can think probably every hour that I got angry on something, whether it was just Vaishnav dropping something on the floor, or whether it was my work, where my, one of the things that I was working on got off on my computer. So there's so many things, like so many instances. So it is very hard, very, very hard. And again, we also learned about Daksha Prajapati, about how he got angry on Lord Shiva, and then, Sati Maharani had to leave her body, which shows us the examples that, these people have, they're showcasing us that why anger is not great. And because also anger creates, you mentioned last time, Prabhu, it creates karma, and our own body becomes polluted. However, again, as I said, we cannot control our anger overall. It is very hard, but we just need to use it in the right way. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has showcased us that as well, that sometimes you need to be angry, really angry, where he got angry on Jagai Madai, as we know, the whole Nityananda pastime, and he applied it at that time. And also, so I think that the important word is anger applied rightly. So where do you apply it? So maybe thinking about it, where we are applying it. So one should tolerate, Prabhupada writes it, one should tolerate anything that's wrong done to oneself, but they should not tolerate if something is wrong. They see something wrong being done to a devotee or to Krishna. And then he mentions about two devotees of Lord, again, Lord Hanuman, where we know he applied his anger really well when he was burning Lanka, and Arjuna, where Krishna had to incite his anger to fight, because he needed that motivation or that instigation to fight. And that anger helped him then to get justice in Mahabharata, as we know. So that was Krodha Vegam. Now, Jiva Vegam. So I think this is the fourth one. Yes, the fourth one. Now Bhakti Siddhanta Thakur writes in the purport that it is actually the most voracious and uncontrollable desire or urge or control. So I guess when I read that, it kind of shows how all of us are always thinking, or at least I'm thinking about food. So it is most voracious and uncontrollable, as said by Bhakti Siddhanta Thakur himself. So we discussed how the fish, for example, gets attracted to a bait, and she doesn't know that actually it's not a bait, it's something that if she gets caught in that, she dies. So that's what the urge of tongue is. And we mentioned last time that the tongue is actually a Gyan Indriya, so it can be controlled only by Gyan of Krishna. So Krishna, in this case, how we can use the Gyana is by having Krishna Prasadam, and what it means is that only eating the remnants of food that is offered to Krishna. Where we discussed about the example of Vishnu Priya, who used to chant one round and have one grain offered to Krishna. And at the end of the day, when she would do her 50 rounds, she would have 50 grains. And even that, she would give half to her mother-in-law. We should have the same attitude where, we only eat when Krishna gives us the prasadam, is how it's explained in the purport. So very high level of explanation. I think for me, very hard to apply. I'm just talking about myself here, but that's how it is written. And that's the aim, the goal we should try. So it tells us the goal of how we can achieve Krishna, which is not easy to achieve. So that's why it is, these steps are written for us. Finally, we discussed in this particular part is that if we control our tongue, we can actually align our belly and genitals, which are the two urges that come just after the last two urges. And it's also written, actually, if you think about it, the tongue, belly, and genitals, they're all in the same line. So in the body. So it's basically they're aligned from that perspective as well. So if we can control our tongue, we can actually control Udara and Upastha. So Udara in here actually not just means belly, but it's also the frequency and quantity of what we eat. And when I read about it, it was not just how much you eat, but what type you eat. So it's like, I want to have pizza. I want to have, for me, I always want to have something really delicious. So even when you're doing that, it says that you are falling under the urge of your belly and tongue. So it's not, I'll make pizza today for Krishna is not for him, but for me. Even that is actually falling under that. So it's not just how much you eat, but also what you make. So more delicious food we make, it is actually trying to satisfy ourselves. If we are doing it for our own way. I mean, there are people I know who make really good things, amazing stuff for Krishna, but I'm not in that category. So that was a real eye opener. So that is there. And then when it talks about Upasthavegam, it's control of genitals. So it's only for begetting nice children, Krishna conscious children. And we discussed two negative examples where we discussed how Indra was attracted to Ahilya, and he got punished, and then he had a lot of features, or he became like a woman, and then he had a lot of eyes on his body as a curse. And then we also discussed about Sambhavi Muni, where he got attracted towards the fishes, and then he married 50 princesses afterwards, and then he regretted it, that how he was already quite high in his devotional service, but then he fell down when he saw that. So they were the two negative examples. But then we discussed about Haridas Thakur, who had full control on himself, and he made a prostitute devotee. So if we can talk about, if we can control all these 6 urges, at end it says you can become a Goswami. So Go means senses and Swami is master. So you can master all these senses like Haridas Thakur was, where actually a prostitute becoming devotee is helping someone do sadhana. So you become a real sadhu, as what is written in the last line, and you can make the whole world your devotees. So that was it, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Very well. Very nice, Mataji. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Prabhu. I'll stop sharing, Prabhu.
Thank you. Just a very small thing, not a big thing at all. Vishnupriya Mataji was chanting 100 rounds a day, minimum. So again, not a big thing. And it's Saubhari Muni. Saubhari Muni. That's all I know. Very nicely presented all the main points from that verse. Thank you. So we'll just continue with our rest of the discussion from verse 1. I'll share my screen. Okay, everyone can see the screen? Yeah, okay. So let's share the Mangala Charan, and then we'll start. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapadakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavansha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahikana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padana Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitancha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deen Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sade Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpa Taribhascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evicha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna. So Mataji has already explained the verse 1 very nicely. So I'll just go over these slides. I'm still putting the pictures on just so that your memory can remember all these examples which Kanika Mataji has already described in the words. So here we have Ajamil and Arjun for Manas Vegam, Krodh Vegam. We have Durvasa Muni and Daksh Prajapati is a negative example. Positive we have Hanumanji, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Arjun. Jiva and Udar Begam. So Jiva refers to the variety of foodstuffs, as Mataji was saying, and Udar refers to this frequency in the quantity. So there's a little difference there. And positive is taking only Krishna Prasad, and one example is Vishnu Priya Mataji. Upastha Begam, we have Sabari Mini and Indra, and positive as Haridas Thakur. So this is where we ended our class last week. Just take this up. So the last line of that verse was Sarvam Apimam Prathvim Prasishyat, which Mataji has already explained. So a person who is able to control these 6 urges is able to make disciples, is qualified to make disciples all over the world. Now, if you put this other way, only person should be making disciples who can control these urges. Nowadays, you see many gurus are there who have many followers. And some of them, not all of them, you'll see after a few years, they get caught in some scandal. They are in jail. They have some court cases because one of these urges or more than one of these urges could not be controlled by them. So they may seem to make disciples, many disciples all over the world, but they are not the real gurus. So this is a test. Prabhupada writes in the purport, this is the qualification of a bona fide spiritual master. Now, this is not the only qualification, but this is the minimum qualification. So this qualification applies on us as well as on the Guru. Why? Because a disciple is also one day should be becoming Guru. So this you can say as a goal in the beginning, but then it should become a daily schedule that we should be able to control all these urges. His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj gives a very beautiful example. For Krodh or any other urges, he said, initially, if someone says a bad word to us, we immediately try to respond, isn't it? Eat ka jawab patthar se. But he said, once you know the science of Krishna consciousness, you are practicing the science of Krishna consciousness, what you should do, at least think about it. Sometimes people speak or react without even thinking. Gaurgopal Prabhu gives the example of a soda bottle and the water bottle. He will carry that in the class and he will shake the soda bottle and he will open it. So we should not become the soda bottle, rather we should become the water bottle. So Radhanath Maharaj says very beautifully, he says, initially our response time is 0 seconds, isn't it? Immediately, sometimes even minus. Even before the people finish their line, we are happy to respond. Immediately, aapne aisa kaise keh diya? How dare you say that? So minus or 0 at least. So Radhanath Maharaj said very beautifully, you should try to increase that response. We cannot go from 0 to 100 in one day. It's not possible. As Mataji was saying, Krodh Vega. How do you just, it's not an analog. It's not a digital switch, it's analog, slowly. So Maharaj said, slowly you should start 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now 5 seconds have passed, now I will speak. Now I will react. Then increase 5 to 10, 10 to 15, and slowly you will see. So it's a matter of practice, because many times we can talk theory. It doesn't happen in practice. So we have to, that's why we are discussing in devotee association of these verses, so that we can start applying these verses. As Prabhupada said, application is the key. You can have a lot of knowledge in your head. Knowledge will not take you back to Godhead. No knowledge can take you, no knowledge alone can take you back to Godhead. Knowledge should lead to the realization, and then the transformed heart that can lead you back to Godhead. So this is the first step, not last step. So if you have these qualifications, Sarvam Apimam Prathvim, the whole, he can make disciples, the whole human beings can become this person's disciple. And what's the only thing missing in verse 1 at this stage, which is not present as yet? Rupa Goswami has not given. What's that one thing which should be in the Uttamadhikari, in the first class Guru? Although this is also the qualification of the Guru, but one thing is missing here.
Right. Is it Bhakti?
Krishna consciousness. So he should be completely under the shelter of Krishna. He should take full shelter of Krishna. 26 qualities of a devotee is given in Chaitanya Charitamrita. And the most important quality, Prabhupada says, Guru Maharaj also said, the most important quality of that 26 qualities is taking complete shelter of Krishna. Even if the other 25 qualities does not exist in the beginning, that's fine. If you have that one quality, take shelter of Krishna. What is the one principle which whole Shastra is saying? The whole NOD is based on one principle.
Always remember Krishna, never
And never.
forget.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Huh? Always remember Krishna. Who knows the Sanskrit verse of this? Smrityo Satatam Vishnu. So Satatam means always. Vishnu or Krishna, same thing. Satatam Vishnu. Satatam. Vismrityo Najatuchit. Vismrityo, Vismriti. Non-remembrance, that's not allowed. So if you have this one principle in your life, whatever you are doing, you're working outside, you're cooking in the kitchen, you're doing jhadu in the house, or you're giving class, it doesn't matter what you're doing. If that one principle is always maintained, I need to remember Krishna all the time, and I should not forget Krishna, then your life is successful. It doesn't matter. You're in outside world, inside world, you're in a big position, you're in a humble position. It doesn't matter. Sarvam apimam pratimta shishyat. Now I'll just conclude the verse with some commentary from Bhakti Siddhanta Maharaj. We already discussed this. Can anyone remind me? Yes, right? So quickly, this is from Bhakti Siddhanta Maharaj. I'll quickly say it again. Okay, Bhakti Siddhanta Maharaj will come. Next slide is Prabhupada. Purports of Vacho, Manasa, Krodha, and Jiva, and Prabhupada gave different examples. Now let's go to Bhakti Siddhanta Maharaj. One thing Bhakti Siddhanta Maharaj wrote very nicely, very simple thing he wrote. He said all these 6 Vedas can be divided into 3 categories. What are these 3 categories? Anyone can identify? Verbal, mental, physical. Okay. So verbal refers to our vacha. So we have 3, right? Verbal, we speak. Mental, we think something. Manasa and Krodha refers to mind. Where does growth generates from mind, isn't it? You feel something bad from some word or some other titillation in your senses. So mental and physical. Physical will cover jihva, udar, and upasthi. Makes sense? And as Kanika Mataji was saying earlier, jihva works as Gyanendriya as well as Karmendriya. When does it act as Gyanendriya? Anyone other than Kanika Mataji? So the word itself has the answer. When does it act
When
as...
tasting food.
Right, because when we taste a rasagulla, very nice. And when does it act as Karmendriya? Someone else? Someone else. That means no one remembers. We should write. We should write. Again, it's not my points. I'm also
Speaking.
read. Speaking.
When you
Speaking.
While
speak,
speaking.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So
When
when
you
we
use it
speak,
to communicate. Yeah.
that's
Sorry.
right. So that is karma. By speaking, it says jihva or tongue doesn't have a bone, but it can break the bones. You say something, many wars has happened because of this uncontrolled jihva. Someone has said something, people felt bad about it. In Mahabharata, now in actual Mahabharata, at least the main rendition of Mahabharata doesn't have it, but the famous version of so-called Mahabharata, Draupadi said to Duryodhana, what did she say? Everyone knows that. Andhe ka putra andha. Now, I've heard about it in the real rendition of Mahabharata. There is no such thing, but a famous version of it. And because of that one sentence, sometimes they say the war happened. Now, again, this was not the only reason, but people put it like that. So sometimes this jiva can act in a very, very negative way, and we can break relations. We can break so many things. It says, to increase a faith is like growing a tree. It takes 100 years to grow a tree, isn't it? A good solid tree takes 100 years. So faith takes a lot of time to grow. How long does it take to cut off a tree? Maybe 1 day or 1 hour. So cut off a faith is very, very easy. To build a faith, very difficult. So we should be very, very careful. We should not become instrument in cutting anyone's faith off. So we should always try to help this person. Then we are acting in a Krishna conscious way. Otherwise, we are cutting faith. And whoever is trying to do that, you should be very careful with those people because they're trying to cut your faith down. They may say God doesn't exist. Yes, kaun wala sara. They're all pagal. So yes, some of the ISKCON wala can be pagal. We may be pagal. I may be pagal. That's fine. But you cannot just put the whole sanstha, whole organization in a bucket called pagal. I may do something wrong, that's fine. It's me individual doing something not very nice. So we have to be very careful with those people because they will always try to drag you away from cultivating Krishna consciousness. Or within devotee circle also, there may be some people, there may be some devotees, so-called devotees, who are trying to take you away from the good association. So we have to be very careful. So these three things, especially the jiva, is very, very important, very important in building or cutting. In building, it can build as well. Like when we hear from our Guru Maharaj, from Prabhupada, that's how we come to Krishna consciousness. Or someone can take it away, jiva. Okay, so Bhakti Maharaj said, so we have to divide into three pieces: verbal, mental, and physical. And then when these are all aligned, then we can build a solid face to practice Krishna consciousness. So this has become our base. So if the base, the foundation of a building is not very strong, what will happen? Building of Krishna consciousness, so-called building of, will collapse. When does it collapse? When the storm of temptation comes, storm of negativity comes in our life. Because of our prarabdha, many negative things can come in our life. We have no control over, right? Now today is very cold, we have no control over. Similarly, in our life, how many things come? My Guru Maharaj said in a class, he said, we think we are living life, but life is living us. Life is living us. We are not living life. The time is just passing by. Many, many major incidents happen in our life. How much control do we have? Yeah, we have some control, not too much control. So life is living us. So how do we spend our time in such a way that when life is living us, we are not letting the life live on us? You understand? So whatever prarabdha will bring, we have no control over, but we should utilize within that situation, use our time in such a way that we can still remain a devotee and become a devotee and help others also as much as possible to become devotees. Otherwise, life will be finished very, very soon before we realize it's all over. So very good foundation is needed. And Bhakti Siddhanta Maharaj said, finally, you can serve only one master. You can either serve your senses or you can serve Krishna. But Srila Prabhupada also writes that in the purport, which is from Bhakti Siddhanta Maharaj purport. So senses you are serving, that means you are a Godas, servant of the senses. Or you're a Goswami. And Goswami means you're the controller of the senses. Now Goswami, Prabhupada writes very clearly, it's not a caste. It's not by taking birth in that family you also become a Goswami, which is very popular in some cities, but that's not the real meaning of Goswami. Goswami means you have full control on all your 6 urges, which we are talking in this verse, especially your mind, because everything starts from mind. And if you can do that, Prabhupada writes, you are qualified as a spiritual master. Okay, so that's end. Now, I just want to read one line from Srila Prabhupada purport. This is towards the end of Prabhupada purport of verse 1. Very beautiful. Mohit Prabhuji, would you like to read? Okay.
Sure. The whole conclusion, Prabhu? The whole line?
Yes, just a few lines. Yes, Prabhu.
One who can control these 6 items, speak, mind, anger, tongue, belly, and genitals, is to be called a Swami or Goswami. Swami means master, and Goswami means master of the go or senses. When one accepts the renounced order of life, he automatically assumes the title of Swami. This doesn't mean that he is the master of his family, community, or society. He must be master of his senses. Unless one is master of his senses, he should not be called Goswami, but Godas, servant of the senses. Following in the footsteps of 6 Goswami of Vrindavan, all Swami and Goswami should fully
engage in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. Sorry, yeah, the slide may be little cut. Thank you, my Prabhu. So very, very clearly, Prabhupada writing, and you can read, and I'm sure you would have read it, in the second last paragraph of verse 1 purport, very clearly, this is the conclusion. Prabhupada said, the conclusion is, you should become Goswami. Now, Prabhupada writes that actually Acharyas also say, now what about the Matajis? Matajis don't take the formal title of a Goswami. So what happens in that case? Any Matajis? So Mataji is not supposed to become Goswami. Is that right? Every Mataji is just silent.
We are talking in terms of soul. We are not in terms of as a soul, not as a body, a female or male body here. So
but what's the answer? Should you become Goswami or no? That's the question.
we have to, everyone have to try to become Goswami.
Thank you, Mother. Thank you. Everyone has to become Goswami. It's not a title which we are talking here. Title can be taken by men when they take sannyas. That's just a title. And Brother Govind Maharaj says in one of the classes very clearly, any Goswami or any sannyasi, he says, who does not chant Hare Krishna is going straight to hell. Maharaj said that. It's not my statement. So a title can be given to anyone, but that doesn't mean much unless he or she follows that. So following is more important rather than a formal title. Obviously, title is given on the qualification, or I should rather say, title should be given on the basis of qualification. But many times in this world doesn't happen. So everyone has to become Goswami, whether it's a bodily male or female, it doesn't matter. And unless you become Goswami, you cannot please Krishna with your services because you are still a Godas. And Krishna like us to become Krishna Das, not Godas. And there's some saying it says, Krishna Das, Bindas, Maya Das, Sadaudas. If you are a Krishna Das, you are Bindas. Okay, Krishna dekh lenge. Krishna will do. Krishna will. Not that you don't do your duties. Obviously, we are supposed to do our duties with the intelligence given by Krishna. But after that, okay, Krishna will do whatever is best for me. Maya Das, Sadaudas, because you are always in anxiety. Kal kya hoga? Will I have a job? Will I have a shelter? Will I get food tomorrow? Will I have this tomorrow, that tomorrow? Because you have no control over those things and you want to have a control so that you're in anxiety. But Krishna's devotee, okay, I'm doing what I can do. Krishna is there. So what's the worry? Amok Lila Prabhu says, when there is Krishna, when there is Hari, why worry? When Hari is there, Hari means Lord Narayan is there, why worry? Why you are worried? So Hari will take care of our worries as far as we are following what we are supposed to follow. So let's stop here on verse 1. If there anyone has any questions or comments, we'll take. Otherwise, we'll move to verse 2. Okay? No worries. Let's move to verse 2. I can see Sakhi Radhika Mataji has a question. Yes, Mataji.
Prabhu, I have a question that
Yes.
sometimes there are, in life there are little issues or problems which come up. But how to understand? Because we have Gyan, but we do not have Vigyan.
Yes.
So what happens is that we know that Krishna has a plan and we keep telling ourselves. But what
Yeah.
should we do that we don't fear, not fear, but um, we don't feel sorrowness in the heart? That pain should not be there.
Yep.
What can we do to eradicate that pain? At the same time, we accept because we have the knowledge,
Yep.
but it is not realized.
That's why we have the pain. Yeah.
So we
That's
have
why.
the pain. So
Yeah.
what measures can we do that the pain is either less or
Yeah.
we don't have the pain and we just
Yeah.
accept everything as it is. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Mata. It's very, very practical question. Many times we have a lot of knowledge in our head, but when some calamity comes, some negative situation come in our life, we become very much worried and anxiety. First thing first, in my little understanding, that is a very good time, a good testing time that how much we have learned, practically speaking, very good time. And that's why we should have very good devotee association. Chaitanya was saying, sometimes even in ISKCON, that's Prabhu's statement, we have a lot of devotee associations, so-called devotees, but not even we have one single devotee friend where we can open our heart with. Because we all have our weaknesses and everyone's weaknesses will be different. And that's fine because we are a conditioned soul. So first thing first, is a good time for our test that, okay, I have learned in so-called Bhakti Shastri, Bhakti Vaibhav, Bhakti Vedanta. But now this anxiety is coming. I've lost a dear one, some money, some family or job, whatever. I'm in anxiety. So that shows I'm taking shelter of that job, for example, more than taking shelter of Krishna. That's clear, isn't it? And I've tested it on myself, and I have to say, with both open hands, I failed. But I was judging myself, that theory-wise, you should take shelter of Krishna, but because that shelter, say job, a financial situation is taken away from your head, you are worried. What will happen? If you were under Krishna's shelter, if the terrace was made up of Krishna, not your job or finance or so-called fame, if the shelter was Krishna, then why your word Krishna's shelter is still there on my head? But because the shelter was job, finance, my fame, my reputation, image, whatever, that's taken away. Now we are shelterless and we are worried. So first thing, we have to sort of understand if we have that much intelligence. Second thing, Chaitanya Prabhu says, very practical. So we should have a good devotee association who can help us to tell us what to do, because many times our intelligence doesn't work in these sort of times. Sometimes you say you don't have a devotee association. What do? You should prepare for these situations in advance. Make your intelligence your guru, your counselor, your mentor. So our mind will say something, intelligence will say something. So your intelligence should be ready to cope up with these situations. An example he gave, a soldier who goes to war. If he goes to a war without practicing his weapons, can he do good in the war? He went to the war, he took his machine gun or whatever it is, he doesn't know how to shoot the enemy. What's the use of that machine gun? So you have the weapon with you, you are there, but you don't know how to use the weapon. So you have Bhagavad Gita with you, you are there, you don't know how to use the Bhagavad Gita. So what you should have done, practice the weapon before you go. So we should, right now what we are doing, ideally speaking, we are practicing to sharpen our intelligence so the intelligence can take shelter of Krishna rather than taking shelter of job. So third thing, what we should do in these sort of situations, again, I'm speaking, sometimes as you said, the pain is there in the heart and we should not feel pain, but we still feel pain. So what we should do in a practical situation like that, we should fight with that situation as best of your capacity and at least theoretically, again speaking the word theoretically, have faith in Jagannath. Theoretically, that Jagannath is still there to look after me. And if he wants to punish me through these situations like this, theoretically, I'm saying again, because practically you're a sadhu then. We should accept it. So accept the pain, at least in theory. Don't try to fight back too much with the problems, because many times when we try to fight back with the problem, what happens? All our energy goes in fighting back the problem instead of taking shelter of Krishna. And if we take shelter of Krishna more than fighting back with the problem, I'm talking an internal process here. Externally, you may have to fight. Prabhupada also fought many court cases. My Guru Maharaj was once telling me, I was fighting 40 court cases simultaneously in Vrindavan, and so many physical and so many other things. You listen to him and you like, you cannot even stand 1% of that. I'm talking the external situations here. But he could do it. How he could do it? Because he was mentally so much fixed in Krishna consciousness. Whatever comes, I will take it. When Abhimanyu died, Arjun was okay. He was not blaming to Krishna. Hare Krishna, tumne mere putra ko nahi bachaya. Arjun never blamed Krishna. He just went on doing his duties. So does it help, Mataji? I can have some more thoughts on it, but we can take these three things.
Yes, Prabhu,
Yeah.
this help. It's just that I was thinking that sometimes we go through these things. We have the knowledge.
Many times.
Yeah, we have the knowledge. We know it's Krishna's plan, but we have faith that everything would be fine. But there is this pain which is there. So I was thinking, why is the pain there where Krishna is there? We should not have that pain only.
Yeah.
But my Prabhu was explaining that you're not pure devotee. So it is okay. Take time.
Yeah, that's fine. Just one more thing. When we say we have faith, and that's a fact actually for all of us, we don't have much faith. Having faith and not having much faith, so that's a different. Like a small child has full faith in the mother or father, right? He will not even think twice when coming to a mother and crying. He will get hurt. He'll say, Mama, and he will come and just lie on you. He has full faith on you. But an adult child, say 13, 15 years, he wouldn't have full faith in the father. Maybe my friend is right. My father may be right, but maybe my friend is right. We are in that situation. We are that adult child. We have some faith in our money, some faith in our plans. Yeah, Krishna's. So this half-half situation is the bad one. A small child takes shelter of the mother or father, he's fully satisfied. But an adult child is not fully satisfied, he's still hankering for something else. So we should become that childlike in taking shelter of Krishna, but we should become adult when we're fighting back. So internally we take that 8.7, Mam Anusmar Yuddhicha. Tasma Sarveshu Kaleshu Mam Anusmar Yuddhicha. So Sarveshu Kaleshu, of all the Kala, you do Yuddha. Yuddha is not a stop. You have to do fighting with the Maya. but mam anusmar yuddhecha. So mujhe remember karo. Please keep remembering me all the time. That will
So,
help.
Prabhu, you're saying that the feeling will also change if there
Will
is
change.
complete shelter. That's
That's
what.
why Radhanath Maharaj, your Guru Maharaj says that, in this material world, miseries are mandatory. Miseries will come to everyone. Even Radhanath Maharaj was saying, I went to a hospital, dental hospital or something. He had some tooth pain. And he said, I walked inside the doctor's chamber. And when I came out in a wheelchair. I had a big bandage. So I actually came out, physically speaking, worse than what I went in.
Yeah.
Huh? So it happens. You're fighting against the Maya. Even he will get a toothache or other things, at least for Leela purpose. We'll also get it. But mentally, he is fully, it's all right. It's my body is temporary anyway. So slowly, when the faith increases, your bodily faith decreases, and you'll be actually comforting. You'll have a comfortable feeling even in the worst situation of the world. Example, Kunti Maharani. Worst situation of the world. And she's saying, Draupadi ka cheer again and again hona chahiye. Wow, which mother will say that? She's saying, no, that should happen again and again, because she's feeling a comforting situation within that uncomfortable situation. Keshav Maharaj, I'm remembering Khandosa Prabhu always listens to Keshav Maharaj. He has a lecture and I heard it, and you should all hear that. Become comfortable with the uncomfortable. I'm sure many of you would have heard it. So become comfortable with the uncomfortable. We all become uncomfortable with the uncomfortable situation. Maharaj is explaining the whole lecture very nicely. Become comfortable. It's okay. It's not the end of the world. It will pass through. Everything is temporary here. Okay.
Similar lecture is there by Radhanath Maharaj in his Desiree. It is called Unfortunate is the Most Fortunate. And it is very nice lecture.
Yes.
Yeah.
Radhanath Maharaj, also one more quotation comes to my mind. He says, don't become the prisoners of success. Rather than you become a free person of failures. Because when you fail, you take shelter of Krishna. When you are successful, yes, I have done it. I'm so great. Yeah, I'm also a devotee, but inside you're thinking, it's me, I have done it. But when you fail, okay, Baba, I failed. I don't have much qualification. Krishna, you please take care. We really take shelter. So sometimes the failures are very helpful in our life. But again, not all the time, because we can't handle at this stage. Okay, let's move on. We have two more hands up. Madhuri Mataji, you want to add something?
Prabhu, just a quick one on the
Yes.
same thing. Yesterday, I heard in Bhagavatam class that Bhagavatam class now, at this moment, they are talking about Dhruv Maharaj story. So Dhruv Maharaj stepmother, Suruchi, she says like, you cannot sit on the lap of your dad. Go and pray Lord Vishnu. Come back. If Lord Vishnu gives you blessings, then you will be born in my womb. And then in the next birth, you will be able to sit on your laps of your dad, and she will send away. And then the real mother, Sunidhi, she says like, yes, Dhruv Maharaj goes and asks like, I'm asked to go to take the surrender to Lord Vishnu and take the help of Lord Vishnu. Then she also says, yes, go and take shelter of Lord Vishnu. So here in the class, it was said like, there are two paths that Sunidhi Mataji can take steps. One is fight back and say that, Dhruv Maharaj is also a son of the king. He has every right. Why should he wait for the next birth? She can fight like a material mother, but she has taken the spiritual knowledge, and she asked her son to go and take the shelter of Lord Vishnu. So any problem, whether it is material or spiritual problem, basically it is a material problem that we are talking about. In the class, it is told that we should always take the shelter of spiritual knowledge, not material knowledge. So cultivate spiritual knowledge in such a way that for any problem, we need to think from a spiritual knowledge perspective and take the steps. That is very ideal for devotees. And that is how Dhruv Maharaj has become what he is today. Otherwise, if he's fighting back, he might have at least got a lap of his dad, but not
the lap of Vishnu.
Lord of Vishnu.
Yeah,
So
thank you. Mother. Very nice. And that's why in the Bhagavad Gita we read we should become Jnana Chakshusha. Jnana Chakshusha means we are seeing the world through the eyes of scriptures. We're still seeing the world, we're living the world, we are having miseries in the body and this and that, but we are seeing those things through the eyes of scriptures. Then we are really seeing it. Otherwise, we're just seeing the outside picture, and that may baffle us, make us very miserable, can pull us down to mode of ignorance, and all those things can happen. But we are looking even the calamity with the eyes of scriptures. We can see of Krishna's hand. Prahlad Maharaj says, see, many times when the favor comes in our life, we sing, oh, thank you, Krishna. And we say that, thank you, Krishna, for giving me success or some money or whatever else. But when the unfavorable situation comes, many times, if not all the time, we don't thank Krishna. We don't see that as Krishna's favor. But if we start seeing that also as Krishna's favor, when the favorable situation comes, we think as a Krishna's favor. But when the unfavorable situation comes, we start thanking Krishna with the same mindset, rather with the greater mindset. Thank you so much, Krishna. You have given me this calamity. Then you are becoming Krishna conscious. Now, how many of us can do that in a real world? It's not sure. We should try that. We should try that. When next time a car fine comes or speeding fine comes, not that you should do it. Thank you, Krishna, thank you for putting me on the right path, because I need it. Parikshit Maharaj said when the curse came, Krishna, I was totally absorbed in the material world. By your kind mercy, I have been given this curse so that I can become more Krishna conscious. Parikshit Maharaj was thanking for the death curse. And we cannot even thank Krishna for a little fine. Or if some surgery happens, I'm looking at Manmohan Prabhu. Some surgery happens, like, अरे बाप रे, क्या हो जाएगा? कुछ नहीं होगा. Nothing will happen. Whatever is in Prarabdha, that will come. Not that we should become stupid, but why there is so much anxiety deep in our heart. Okay, let's move on. We have two more. Yes, Ujjwala Mataji or Prabhuji.
Yeah, Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Just I want to seek your guidance on something. There was a situation once we were visiting some friend, and there was some talk going on, some discussion and something, and then that person, the host, started talking a little demeaning things about, in a negative manner, about ISKCON and Srila Prabhupada. And so the second devotee got upset and angry a little bit, and he started saying that these are things and we should not talk like this and all that. And then he was talking in a bit intense manner, and then the first devotee was also arguing, and then it went on back and forth. So the second devotee was saying that I can tolerate things here and there, but if anyone talks about Srila Prabhupada in a negative way, or about ISKCON, then I can't tolerate it. I feel very upset and angry about this. So in such a situation, how should it be handled?
Okay. Chaitanya Charitamrita gives the answer, Mataji, of this situation. So there are two things which should be done now. First thing, we should not hear the blasphemy of our spiritual master, or even devotees, for that sake. And the higher they are, the higher pure, like Srila Prabhupada, a pure devotee of Krishna, Lord doesn't like it. So Shastra says we should not hear the blasphemy. Now, to counteract that blasphemy, what should we do? That's the question. Two steps are given in Chaitanya Charitamrita. First step is, whoever is blaspheming, you should cut that person's tongue off. That's what Shastra says. And hang on a second, don't jump on to that step before listening the second one. If we do that, we will become not a Krishna conscious movement, tongue cutting movement or something, because so many blasphemers are around us, and it's a reality of life, right? Second thing which is recommended is leave the place. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself had done it. Just to show an example, he's Supreme Personality of Godhead. He can do anything. We are no one. We are no one. We have no control over. And what will happen? This person, whoever this is, an envious person, will become actually much more envious. And we may also do some aparadh. So the safer side, if the situation is becoming very aggressive, up to an extent, if a person is able to talk, we talk. If not, you see that the safest way is leave the place, physically leave the place. If that person has to leave, he leaves. If he is in your house, you say, Hare Krishna, thank you so much for your kind comments. That's the exit door. My Guru Maharaj actually has done it to a person, and I'll not name it in the detail. He was sharing that because he was in his house. So he was the guest. Now, if you are the guest, The faces. Thank you so much for your kindly hosting me for last 2 days. I'm very thankful to you and giving the conclusion of that talk. Take your bag and get out. Do that. Huh? And don't ruin the relation. Don't become aggressive, because by being aggressive, what you're doing, you're blocking this person's future Krishna consciousness. Now, I know it's hard. Be very, very reasonable. One thing which my Guru Maharaj said for book distribution or any other thing for that sake, if you show a book to a person he doesn't take, he become aggressive or something, don't leave that person with the impression of, angry book distributor or something. You should still smile. Thank you, sir. Have a good day. Whatever you want to say, good. Even if it is completely fake, you say that, because you should leave a last impression very good in this. Why? Not that we cannot counter the arguments, but the thing is, we are concerned about this person's future Krishna consciousness. I have seen my Guru Maharaj treatment with other devotees with this perspective. Although they have done something which he doesn't like at all, but he will leave such a good impression on them that one day, he said, they might come. And I've seen on Jayapataka Maharaj as well. He was in Mayapur one day. One of his very senior disciples was sharing with me very nicely. One day Maharaj was in a computer room where you send out this marketing emails and blah blah blah, ESCON's marketing emails, and that's fine. And Maharaj was looking at the computer saying, okay, so how many devotees going to and how many is not going to? This person said, Maharaj, maybe few hundred devotees, we have blocked those persons because they are not very receptive or something like that. Maharaj said, no, don't say that. They can still come back. Huh? They're just temporarily blocked. Don't give up on them. Jayapataka Maharaj said that. Don't give up on them. They're temporarily blocked, but don't give up your hope on them. So Maharaj is like, no matter what they have done, is still under Krishna's shelter, and temporarily they are blocked. But so Maharaj said, you should keep sending them the messages of Krishna consciousness. So one day they may come back to temple. So kind attitude towards those people. Is that okay, Mataji?
Yes, but it's a bit of a hard thing to do,
It's
when
hard.
somebody is saying
But-
negative things.
But you
And
should draw a
then,
line rather than sitting and fighting with that person in the chair. You be a smiling person, and that way you can leave a better impression. Suppose if you fight for 1 hour, argue for 1 hour, you'll not leave a good impression. And he was like, "ISKCON wala to naam sun ke bhi." And he said, no, ISKCON is bad, but I know one person who's very nice in ISKCON. And again, you are not the Ishvara. Remember, at the end of the day, we are not Ishvara. We cannot please everyone. Chaitanya Prabhu says the worst thing which you can do to yourself is to try to please everyone. There will be someone who's opposing you. Someone there. Maybe more than one, but always there. All Prabhupada had many so-called enemies. Yudhishthira Maharaj had enemies. His name was Jatashatru. So don't worry. We are not Ishwar. Even Ishwar had many enemies. Duryodhan, Ravan, Hiranyakashipu, So from our side, we should be very clean. Our side. We cannot control what others think, act, propagate. It's up to them. We shouldn't be part of that. Okay, let's move on. I saw one more hand. It's disappeared now, which is good. Okay, Prasannatma Prabhu, I think he's always Prasanna. It's so nice to see him. He's carrying.
No, Prabhu, suddenly I thought I'll lower my hand. Anyway, I'll share. Actually, previous landlord, I just wanted to share that. Like, then the mold got, dampened, and there was some damage happened. When I left that house, and he filed a case against me. I didn't give the money to him, actually. So actually they said $6,000 for fixing that. He said he will pay 3,000. I have to pay 3,000. So I said I'm not going to give that money because it's not my problem. So I paid for all other things, like he didn't give me the advance, like 1,800 for cleaning and other things. He took it. Then after that, today was the hearing, actually. so I was praying to the Lord, praying to the Lord. He was there as a super soul. Make that judge favorable to me, so that you'll not find me. After that, I went there. I was sitting there. My turn came, and I went inside, and he said the landlord last minute he has withdrawn the case.
Haribo. Haribo.
So I was saved actually.
Haribo.
Saved up $3,000 actually. So I just wanted to share. Not that I fully dependent, just
Yes,
I was praying like that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, Prabhu. Yeah, that's how our situation is.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on to verse 2. This is a very, very nice verse. We have already given a little context of it. So let's read it and we'll read some context of the verse and then we'll go inside the verse. Okay, who would like to read? I can see Shraddha Mataji. She could not read her verse initially. Would you like to read, Mataji?
Okay.
Hare Krishna.
So did I miss my chance to read the 7th and 8th verse?
Yes, Mata. You're
So,
just little late.
sorry, Prabhu.
No problem. All good, Mata. Next time.
Atyahara prayasascha
Atyahara prayasascha
prajalpo niyamagraha
prajalpo niyamagraha
janasangasya lolyam cha
janasangascha laulyam cha
shadbhir bhakti vinashyati.
shadbhir bhaktir vinashyati.
Translation. One's devotional service is spoiled when he becomes too entangled in the following 6 activities: eating more than necessary or collecting more funds than required. Second, over endeavoring for mundane things that are very difficult to obtain. Third, talking unnecessarily about mundane subject matters. Fourth, practicing the spiritual rules and regulations only for the sake of the following them and not for the sake of the spiritual advancement, or rejecting the rules and regulations of the scriptures and working independently or whimsically. Fifth, associating with worldly minded persons who are not interested in Krishna consciousness. And sixth, being greedy for mundane achievements. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Okay, so this is verse 2. The context was already given when we were discussing verse 1. So verse 1, if you take it as a target to control 6 urges. So verse 2, Rupa Goswami is explaining what you should not do if you want to achieve verse 1 as a target. So if you want to control 6 urges, there are certain things which you should not do. And third verse, as we know, what you should do. So now what we are discussing, first thing is, if you want to achieve the target, which is verse 1, what you should not do. 6 things Rupa Goswami is saying we should not do. I'll read the Sanskrit words first. Atyahar, prayas. So second is prayas. Third is prajalpa. Niyamagraha is number 4. Jansanga is number 5. Lolyam is number 6. So atyahar, you can say ati ahar. Ahar means food. Ati means ati. Ati karte hain, Hindi mein karte hain, ati karna. Something excessive. What is ahar and excessiveness is? We'll read little later. Prayas. Prayas is actually very positive word, but here, if you see, it's used in a negative sense, and we'll see. So prayas karna. Prayas karna means to put some endeavor. It's considered very nice. You should do prayas. You should do endeavor. It's nice. Here it's used in a negative sense. Why? We'll read it in a minute. Prajalpa. Prajalpa, everyone knows Prajalpa. Probably in ISKCON, this is a very famous word. Everyone sort of say theoretically we should not do Prajalpa, although we keep doing Prajalpa. So what does Prajalpa mean? What we should do and what we should not do? We'll read that. Prajalpa means unnecessary talking, as per Prabhupada. Unnecessary. Niyam Agraha. So this is made up of 2 words, Niyam and Agraha. Now the thing is, when you combine the word, so there's a chota a and bada a. How many knows this Hindi word mala? I'm not sure Tamil and Telugu, what do they do in some other languages, but we say, right? Similar probably. This comes from Sanskrit. So niyam agraha, you can say niyam agraha. So niyam is rules and regulations. Agraha means eagerness to accept rules and regulation. Agraha, chota a, small a, is failure to accept rules and regulations. Now, who does it, why he does it, or why he does not do it, we'll read. Jana Sangha. So Jana here refers to, Jana is a Jan, log, people. Jana Sangha, you can Sangha of people. Now here Jana has a very specific meaning. Jana people who are not interested in Krishna consciousness. Sangha, association of those people who are not interested in Krishna consciousness. So this is what Rupa Goswami is saying. We should not do the Sangha, association of those people. And the last one is Lolya. Lolya means greed. Now, greed itself has a negative connotation, but if you read NOD, same word is used by Rupa Goswami in Nectar of Devotion, as greed is the only price you have to pay to become a devotee. So many words in a general normal sense have some connotations, so not all the connotations will apply in the verses as it is. Like prayas is a positive word, used as a negative. Lolya is a negative word. Here has a negative meaning, but somewhere it can be a positive meaning. Now, before we get inside the words, connection from verse 1, anyone can explain me what's the connection with verse 1? Manmohan Prabhuji? Any one or two lines, just a simple one. What's the connection between verse 1 and verse 2?
So, verse 1, just want to. Oh no, go to.
So 6 urges basically.
6 urges, Prabhu,
Yeah. And verse 2 is 6 things not to be done. So what's the relation between verse 1 and verse 2? That's the question.
Do's and don'ts.
So do's and don'ts, like which.
So this is don'ts, you can say.
Yeah.
Don'ts if you want to achieve number 1. Like if you want to be healthy, doctor will say, okay, Prabhuji, take this medication 3 times a day, for example. So you should take it. And what you should not take, tala hua pakoda, ice cream, dosas, this and that, right? So this verse is recommending what you should not do if you want to become healthy. And what's the definition of healthy? You're able to control 6 urges. Now, if we fail to control the 6 urges, and this for all of us, what we should look at, am I doing verse 2 correctly or no? So if the problem is there, that the symptom is there, I'm talking from Manmohan Prabhu's perspective, so there must be a reason behind it, isn't it? There's an effect, there has to be a cause. If your throat has a problem, the first thing the doctor will ask, kal raat ko ice cream khaya tha kya? You're in Canberra, you're at 1 o'clock in the night, you're eating ice creams, then the person will say, Prabhuji, India, Pakistan ka match aa raha tha. So, theek hai bhai. Okay. So what I'm trying to say in a very easy words, if there is an effect, there has to be a cause of it. So if you're not able to control the 6 urges, and you don't have to tell me that, you can ask yourself. And I'm saying all 6 urges failed. You can say, So, but what we are not doing correctly, verse number 2, wasn't it? So we should not just look at verse 1. Verse 1 is the target, but what we should try to control here, come here in verse 2. So if we are doing these things, verse 1 will never happen. So if we are able to do verse 2, what will happen? Verse 1 will happen automatically. So what we should not do again, atyahara prayasascha prajalpo niyamagraha jan sangasha. Even if we are doing 1 or more than 1 in verse 2, what will be the result? Verse 1 will fail. For us, not verse 1 will fail. Verse 1 is eternal truth. For us, it will fail because we are not able to control our urges. And we'll do a mapping exercise later in this verse. We'll say what urge, what you will do here, which will impact in verse 1. Yes, Manmohan Prabhuji.
I mean, to not do these 6 things, do we have to concentrate on each and every activity, or if we improve our chanting and our devotional service and sadhana, these 6 things automatically will be taken care of?
Thank you, Prabhuji. Very, very nice point. Keshav Maharaj gives a whole class on this. I'll give a summary of 2 lines here. Yes, it is correct, theoretically speaking, just by chanting the holy name of the Lord, all the anarthas will be gone. It is true. But how do we practically apply that? It does not mean we keep getting angry on other devotees and say, okay, anger is anartha. I'm chanting holy name. Every day, Prabhuji, I chant 16 rounds, but I keep getting angry unnecessarily, more than necessary. I'm not talking about zero anger here. I'm talking like more than required in a normal day-to-day life, right? So Maharaj very nicely explained, no, then why all these 26 qualities of the devotees are given in Bhagavad Gita, Chaitanya Charitamrita? Why the qualities of humility needs to be cultivated? So if you are not humble, as per Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, you cannot do Kirtaniya Sadahari. So although you're thinking I'm doing Kirtaniya Sadahari, but if it is not the basis of your humility, what will happen? Actually, Kirtan is not happening. And because Kirtan is not happening constantly, intensely, your anarthas are not going. So he said you should do both simultaneously. You should chant the holy name as per whatever foundation you have. You know, we may have a little foundation, not very deep, whatever, right? And not maybe, and cultivate these qualities consciously. Today, I will not get angry. And whole day you're meditating. I should not speak any words which may hurt others. I should not speak any untruthful words today. In Kartik, many devotees take a vow, something like that. I will not do any prajalpa. Bhurijan Prabhu said in his class, this is Bhurijan Prabhu's word, he said in one Kartik, I took a vow, I will not speak anything other than Krishna Katha. That's what he took. And he, after first day, I was thinking about it. I was sort of meditating on it, and I was having difficulty in following this. Not that he was talking Prajalpa, no, he's a Maharaj. But he was saying there are so many things around, so many things around. When I started focusing on this particular quality, I was like, wow, it's difficult. And that's just one quality. So to answer your question in summary, Prabhuji, we should cultivate these quality consciously. Just in our words, for example, just in our attire, we are devotee attire, for example. We feel like, not that we are devotee just by wearing devotee attire, but we do that. Now, what will happen? Just by having those external stimuli in you, it will help you to become more internal. No, I should not become angry. I should control my mind. I should not overeat. I should get up every day for Mangalarti, whatever. That will help. And Maharaj said, fake it till you make it. That's Maharaj words. Fake it till you make it. But he put a condition on that. But don't think while faking, you have made it. Don't think while faking, you have made it. Because otherwise, Prabhu, I'm so humble. You are being proud of being humble. Prabhu, I'm so humble. And internally you are thinking, yeah, I'm the best one. Radhanath Maharaj says, if any devotional qualities, if you're trying to inculcate or you have it, makes you feel greater than the other devotee, you're not inculcating that quality nicely. Because I feel greater than you. I'm better than you. I can do better than you. I can sing better than you. I can talk better than you. I can cook better than you. That's not very Krishna conscious. Is that okay, Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhu. Yes, Prabhu. Thank you.
So some external efforts as per our acharyas is needed to cultivate these qualities. And then holy name will deeply act. And it will drive away all the anarthas. Now, this external only cannot drive away the anarthas. So we have to be with the holy name. But when we're doing holy name and this external trials, then slowly it will act very fast. Okay. Okay, let's move forward. So that's a little introduction now. This is Prabhupada purport. The very first paragraph, Prabhupada starts with this line, beautiful line. I wanted to read the whole paragraph, but just don't have enough time for this. Anyways, Prabhupada said, human life is meant for simple living and high thinking. It's a very popular quote, but we just hear it and not live up to it. But a devotee is supposed to. Prabhupada explained like the whole page of purport, if you have read it, based on this one line, simple living, high thinking. I know some other speakers say, not that we simply live and highly think, or some say hardly think, which 99.99% population of the world is doing. We just simply living. I have to go to a good school, I have to get a good job, I have to get a good house, have a nice family, have 3 cars, 5 investment properties, get good pension, and show to the whole society how great I am, and then one day you die. So no thinking involved at all. Everyone is doing the same thing again and again and again. Punah punas charvit charitaranam. We are doing the same thing again and again. Prabhupada saying simple living. What does simple living do? It saves us from entangling Bahiranga Shakti of Krishna. So Prabhupada says in the purport, there are 3 types of Shaktis of Krishna. Antaranga Shakti, internal potency, Bahiranga Shakti, external potency, and Jiva, all of us situated in the Tatastha Shakti or marginal potency. And he says Jiva has to be in the internal or external, has to be in one thing. So if you're not internally situated, internal potency situated, what will be situated in external potency? So simple living will help us to keep our life simple. My Guru Maharaj said, if our life is simple, we have more time for Krishna. It's so true. Huh? Very simple line. Otherwise, we'll just paying, Maharaj said, you're having 10 bills to pay, 30 people to interact with, deal with this, that. For what purpose? So he said, keep it simple. Now, what is simple for me may not be simple for you. And that's fine. That's fine because every person is different. His needs or her needs are different. They're maybe in a different stage of life. That's fine. But you cannot make a blanket rule. But the point is, make it simple. I think Bhakti Siddhant Maharaj gave this acronym, if I'm not wrong. KISS. 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 What does KISS mean? Keep it simple, stupid. Keep it simple. Huh? I heard a lecture from Vaishnava, I can't remember the name, and he said I think it was Radhanath Maharaj, if I'm not wrong, the most difficult thing in today's world is to keep the simple things simple. We have made even the simple things very complex. In one house, brother and sister, brother talking on the phone, talking on the Facebook in 2 different rooms. Go to the brother, say Hare Krishna Bhaiya. Can't do that. Chatting within the house on phone. Mahatma Das Prabhu, very senior Prabhupada disciple, most of you would know. He said, the best communication method in the world. You know the best communication method he said in the world is? Anyone knows the best communication? All of you will have very high level gadgets, high level Samsung 16 or something. Shivam Prabhu, I don't know 16 exists or no. I just put up some number. Best gadgets. But he said the best communication method in the world is talk in person to person, face to face. Talk, say Hare Krishna Prabhu, sit down, let's have a talk. We're talking emails, Instagram, Facebook, this, that, and we are just ruining our relationships, many times, if not all the times. Keep it simple. So keep it simple will make us less entangled with Bahiranga Shakti. We have to deal with Bahiranga Shakti, we cannot deny it. Even sannyasis are, dealing with it, but dealing it appropriately, we are dealing inappropriately. Keep it. And high thinking, what does high thinking will do? Okay, I have a Prabhupada first line, it's beautiful. Human life is meant for plain living and high thinking. Since all conditioned living beings are under the control of Lord's third energy, which is Bahiranga Shakti, external potency, this material world is designed so that one is obliged to work. Because we have to deal with Bahiranga Shakti, all of us has to work. We have to do some level of interaction with the Bahiranga Shakti, no matter which ashrama or varna we are in. We have to do that. But if we are able to understand this principle nicely, a simple devotee can think about Krishna most of the time, because that's the rule. Never forget Krishna. Remember Krishna all the time. So Prabhupada is saying we are obliged to work, but while we are obliged to work, we try to keep it as simple as possible, which is giving us more time to chant Hare Krishna and do more Krishna Seva. That will take us, this high thinking will take us towards Daivi Shakti or Antaranga Shakti of Krishna. Anyone knows in Bhagavad Gita which verse tells, as per Bhaktivinoda Thakur, the name of Srimati Radharani? Naam Avatar
I think in 9th chapter, 9.7, Prabhu.
9.7, you are close. Thoda sa, little up. Yes, you are close.
9.11, I think.
9.13. Mahatma nastu mam partha devim prakritim ashritaha bhajanti ananya manso gyatva bhutadim avyayam. So this is the verse which is exactly opposite of which verse in Bhagavad Gita? Number 7:13. So Devi Hesha hi gunmai mam maya durutya mame vya prapadyante maya etam tarantite. So that the Devi word there used represents what? In 7th chapter?
Durga Devi.
Durga Devi. And Devi word used in this verse represents what?
Radharani.
Srimati Radharani. Bhaktivinoda Thakur says that this is the only verse in Bhagavad Gita which talks about Srimati Radharani. There's one more verse actually which talks about gopis. He gives the whole rasa commentary on 9th chapter, which is beautiful. Anyway, so Prabhupada is saying by simple living and high thinking, what you are doing, you are coming under the Daivi Prakriti. Devi Prakriti, not under Mahamaya, not under Durga Devi, rather you're going under Devi Prakriti. And that will help you to achieve the goal of life which you are meant to achieve. It's a beautiful introduction which Prabhupada is giving, simple living and high thinking. Now, I was literally thinking, I've read it a couple of times. We should have this, printed and in our room. Simple, simple, simple. If we keep the simple things simple, we can actually walk faster back to Godhead. We will walk back to Godhead, no doubt about it. Prabhupada is there, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is there, Nityananda Prabhu is there, but we have to walk fast because we are wasting our time so much in this material world. So Prabhupada is saying in the beginning, we have to try to move from Bahiranga Shakti to Antaranga Shakti, Daivi Prakriti. And how can we do that? Keep the simple things simple and think more about Krishna. He's not denying that you don't have to deal with the Bahiranga Shakti. You have to deal, but deal it minimal with it. And how can you achieve this goal of life? That is speaking in rest of the purport, which are the 6 things we should not do. If you can do that, what you will achieve? Simple living and high thinking. So if you want to achieve this goal in your life, do not do those 6 things which we are going to discuss now. Okay, so let's start from number 1, which is Atyahara. Now, in local language, in Hindi at least, we can say Atyahara means bahut khana. Ahar refers to food. Now, Atya means refers to excessive food. Now, yes, there is one meaning of this word, Ati Ahar. You can say this boy is sort of drowning in the ocean of food, which is nice. And it is. But Ahar does not just represent the Ahar of the tongue or the belly. Ahar also represents any senses. Any senses of your body will have some sense objects as a food, right? Your eyes want some food. What is the food of eyes? Anyone can say? Who will say? What's the food of eyes?
To see and contemplate.
To see. What do you want to see, Mataji?
Something which is soothing to our eyes and
soothing to our eyes, right? I like to see, for example, say Sachin Tendulkar. So I like a poster of Sachin Tendulkar in my room, for example. Some people like, some other celebrity, they'll put a big poster. When I was young, I'll go to some neighbor's house, children who are bigger than me. They will have a big poster of, some West Indies cricketers or something. And I will also contemplate, oh, he must be good. Just by looking at the poster, the desire is coming in my mind that this person must be very good. What's his name? What does he do? Blah, 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 blah. So ahar can be of eyes. Ahar can be of ears. I want to hear some good music, some Michael Jackson music or Hare Krishna music, depending on me, what I like to hear. Ahar can be of my foot as well, right? My foot wants to go to a club. My foot wants to go to a dham. Ahar can be of hand. So ahar can be of anything, including the ahar of our mind and ego. So first atyahara we have to understand is the ahar, food of senses, not just the tongue, which this picture represents. So Bhakti Siddhanta Maharaj in his Anuvritti commentary, so Anuvritti commentary is a commentary of Bhakti Siddhanta Maharaj, which he has written on Nectar of Instruction. Prabhupada in many of his purports is following the commentary of Bhakti Siddhanta Maharaj. In each and every verse, Prabhupada is giving some of his commentary and some of his Guru Maharaj commentary, which is Anuvritti commentary. So that's why many times while we are discussing these verses, we will be discussing Prabhupada purport as well as Bhakti Siddhanta Maharaj purport. So Bhakti Siddhanta Maharaj tells, okay, Hare Krishna. So, where was I? Truckload of shoes. So this Prabhuji or the wife or the children of Prabhuji has 2 truckload of shoes. So you can imagine the hunger of their heart was in shoes. If I get, a number of shoes, I'll be very happy. Someone tried to fulfill their emptiness of mind with the food. Someone trying to fill the emptiness of the mind with some possessions outside. I want a bigger house. I want more cars. One person I heard he had 40 very special cars, 40 or 50, which each car is like worth millions of dollars. He had 50 cars. I'm like, how many cars you can ride on? Bhook, the hunger of the mind. And someone trying to fulfill this emptiness by getting more degrees. I have 3 PhDs. Do you know that? No, I don't have any PhD. Maybe some of you would have it. I don't have any. I know Kanika Mataji has at least one. Ankit Prabhuji has. Maybe they have more. I don't know. But someone trying to fulfill their emptiness by knowledge. So all this represent and someone trying to fulfill by money. And there are many of them which try to fulfill their emptiness by filling up the money. You can see in this picture, this is a person who has accumulated so much wealth. Are you able to read what he is saying? So this person, a poor person, saying, please raise the minimum wage. And you're saying, your greed is hurting the economy. So this is the situation of the world, the whole world, no matter how much you have, the hunger is never fulfilled. Hunger is never fulfilled. Third thing, Bhakti Siddhanta Maharaj said, okay, somehow my computer screen was frozen. Third thing is the emptiness of your mind you're trying to fulfill with knowledge. Some people read a lot of books, not to reach back to Krishna, but to show to others how knowledgeable I am. And it happens in devotee circle as well. Someone can be very proud of how many verses they know, how many yajnas they know, how many years they have been in this movement. I'm a senior devotee. I've heard this statement. I'm a senior devotee. Like, who in the world can make this statement? Who in the world? If you are making, Guru Maharaj said, if you think Krishna is yours, Krishna is gone. If you think Krishna is in my hand now, Krishna is gone because you're thinking Krishna belongs to devotees. Krishna belongs to devotees. And he said, I still remember in Sydney in one class, I said, you have to try to capture the heart of Krishna, win the heart of Krishna every moment. Not that I have done it. I've got the second initiation, Prabhuji. Okay, so what? I've got the third, I've got sannyas initiation. So what? You have to try to win the heart of Krishna. How often? Every moment. Every moment. Radheshyam Prabhu said, you have to become devotee when? Every moment. Not the Sunday evening when I go to temple. Nice tilak dhoti kurta. Hare Krishna Prabhu. That's nice. You have to become devotee every moment. And you have to ask the question yourself, are we devotee this moment? And mostly Kanika Mataji was honestly accepting, and that acceptance applies on most of us, especially on me as well. We are getting defeated by Maya so many times. So three types at least we can talk about. So food or ahar of the senses, we can talk the greed of the mind, which can fulfilled by money. So which means over accumulating the money or possessions and over accumulating knowledge. Next of devotion, Rupa Goswami says, one of the things which you should not do, should not read too many books. One example you'll remember, maybe I have shared in this forum earlier as well. Once one Prabhupada disciple was reading Hari Bhakti Vilas, and Prabhupada said, don't read Hari Bhakti Vilas. Next day again, Prabhupada found him reading the same book. And Prabhupada said, I told you not to read it. And he was very disturbed inside, just to know why Prabhupada is saying like that. He went to the room and he said, Prabhupada, why? Is it not a bona fide book? Prabhupada said, it's absolutely bona fide. Hari Bhakti Vilas written by Sanatana Goswami. But if you read it too much, you will find fault in other devotees and you'll commit aparad, and by that you will go to hell. They are new devotees. They are still struggling with some basic rules and regulations. They don't know, but they have faith in Krishna. And you're trying to, compare the wrong things, and you'll get aparad. You'll go to hell because of that aparad. So, Picture Devotion, we should not read too many books, because sometimes our purpose may change. Reading books, like right now we're also reading, but that is anukul gyan for Krishna consciousness. At least that's the purpose. That's the purpose. Anukul gyan, not pratikul gyan. So if the gyan is pratikul, step back. Okay, so three things we can say: over accumulation of money or possessions, over accumulating of the external things like food or other eyes food or ear food, tongue food, belly food, whatever, and over accumulation of the knowledge. So let's read what Prabhupada is saying for each one. Okay, Jai Dharma Prabhuji has a question or comment. Yes, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Just on the last point, Prabhu, reading too many books. I understand. I mean, I don't even read, but what I mean to ask is there was one reference in Bhagavatam or somewhere I heard one of the senior devotee was saying like a bee, we need to go and collect the honey from different scriptures.
Yes.
So how do we understand or balance these things?
So scriptures given by your Guru Maharaj. That's the answer. So if your Guru Maharaj is saying, beta, read 4 books, Srimad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, Bhagavad Gita, Nectar of Devotion. That's our limit. That's our boundary. So that bee is going within the boundaries and taking nectar from different. So if you're just reading Bhagavad Gita, Guru Maharaj will say, beta, start reading Bhagavatam as well. If you're reading Bhagavatam, start reading Chaitanya Charitamrita as well. Like that. So we are collecting B within our boundaries. And what's the boundary? Established by our spiritual master or our seniors. We go out of the boundary. There are many books outside, and many times even Prabhupada disciples, what to speak of today's followers, have gone outside and they have actually lost Krishna consciousness. There's so many examples coming to my mind. Prabhupada disciples, one Prabhupada disciple, he came to Prabhupada, he said, Prabhupada, can you give me Babaji initiation? Prabhupada said, why do you need Babaji initiation? You know Babaji initiation. Where is Jadharma Prabhu? He's sort of gone. Okay, here. Why do you need Babaji initiation? Prabhupada, I just want to chant Hare Krishna. Prabhupada said, you can chant Hare Krishna without even getting Babaji initiation. Because he was very much fond of Babajis of Vrindavan. And Prabhupada was very apprehensive about it. And he was insisting Prabhupada for many months. So Prabhupada finally gave him initiation. He said, I want to sit on the tree and chant Hare Krishna. Prabhupada said, you can't do that. Means there are people who are doing it, they're qualified. Prabhupada said no, but he was just insisting. So Prabhupada finally gave him Babaji initiation. That's the only disciple Prabhupada gave Babaji initiation. And you can imagine what happened after that. After 1 or 2 months, he disappeared, never to be seen again in Vrindavan. We are not qualified to do that sort of bhajan with Bhakti Siddhanta Maharaj, Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj was doing. We're not qualified for that. So our boundaries has to be set by our acharyas. Now, we are not saying the outside boundary flowers are not good. Flowers are good. My acharya is saying by taking honey from these flowers, you will go back to Godhead. That's enough. See, reading is for one purpose, becoming Krishna conscious, going back to Godhead. That's because many times, if not all the times again, we may get distracted. Radhanath Maharaj said, this is our acharya saying, right? Radhanath Maharaj, very clearly, I still remember his lecture, his words. He said, even if you read commentaries of acharyas, our acharyas we are talking, not talking about outside Gaudiya Vaishnavism. Even if you read other commentaries of acharyas, he said you have to read Prabhupada books 4 times more than that. So if I read Bhakti, okay, take Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. If I read Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur commentary on 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, I have to read, as per Radhanath Maharaj, 4 hours of Prabhupada purports. So 1:4. Maharaj is very clear on this. He said you have to read Prabhupada books. So he's not saying do not read Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. All he's saying, if you read 1 hour Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, you read 4 hours Prabhupada book. Then you will be aligned. What to speak of other acharyas, I don't know the name in this discussion. So this is our situation. We are like small kids. We should be very careful. My Guru Maharaj gave me some reading material and I'm happy to share that. And I saw him in those folders was gigs anyway. So I saw some Sankaracharya commentaries there. So next day I said, Maharaj, I saw Sankaracharya commentaries, not that I read. I just read the folders and he said, delete it. Delete it. I was very happy. I'm very open, I said, I'm like a kid. I don't understand anything. He said, yeah. You may get distracted. So my guru can read. I can't read. He has that capacity. He has that qualification. I don't have that qualification. I'm like, yeah, I come back home, delete. I can read Prabhupada books. That's more than enough for me. So Prabhu, yes, that Siddhant is applicable for all of us within those boundaries. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, let's read this Atyahar and then we'll probably finish the class today. So this is Prabhupada purport here. Beautiful. So he's talking in 3 different categories. So I've just put one category. Religion. Prabhupada talks about religion. Unfortunately, people accept religion for material prosperity because of Atyahar. Atyahar means if I go to God and I pray to God, God give me more money. That I'm using religion for what? Atyahar. I have, $100 with me. I'm not satisfied with $100. I want my God to give me $1,000. That is called Atyahar, using religion for ulterior purpose. Prabhupada is saying religion for material prosperity because of Atyahar, or an excessive desire for such prosperity. True religion, however, instructs people to be satisfied with the bare necessities of life while cultivating Krishna consciousness. I have $100. I must be satisfied. There's a verse in a Puran. I may not be able to remember the verse. It says, if a Brahman is not santoshi, if not satisfied, his Brahmanatva is destroyed by unsatisfaction. So all of us, as per Prabhupada, is supposed to be Brahmans. Even if you don't have Brahman initiation, it doesn't matter. We have to behave like a Brahman. If we are unsatisfied with anything in our life, Oh Krishna, you have not done this correctly with me. You're lost, you're finished. Even the so-called bad things in your life, you should really pray. As I said, even with the words to start with, thank you, Krishna. Thank you, Krishna. Thank you, Krishna, all the time. The more grateful you are, it says, if you are more grateful towards anything, that thing increases. So if you're thanking Krishna for every single thing, whatever has happened or is happening in your life, you're increasing your gratefulness, you're increasing your Krishna consciousness. And if you're ungrateful to Krishna, Radhanath Maharaj says, ungratefulness is the worst thing in a human's life. And he gave the example of Sugriv versus Lord Ram. Sugriv was ungrateful to Lord Ram. Maharaj gave that example. So satisfied with the bare necessities of life. There's so many things we can be grateful about. Prabhupada gives the example of rice and bird. I'll quickly say, very famous example, everyone knows. If you leave a bag of rice in the street, a bird will come and take few grains. And a human will come, how many grains he will take? Now avatar Prabhu, pura bag. So he will not only take for his bare necessities, he wants to take the whole bag because he wants to. This is Prabhupada said, this is called atyahar. And he said, in the bird society or in a fish society, there is no economic problems. Is there any economic problem in bird society? But there's economic problem in human society. Why? I want to have the whole bag for myself. You can starve. I don't care. I should have the whole bag. Birds are sharing. Humans are not. Me, and me. So that was a very nice example because of atyahar. Second, Prabhupada gives, again, as per Bhakti Siddhanta Maharaj, Srila Bhakti Saraswati Thakur writes in the Anuvrat commentary that too much endeavor to acquire knowledge on the part of mental speculator or dry philosopher falls within the category of atyahar. So again, reading Prabhupada books is highly recommended. You must read all the Prabhupada books as many times as possible. But when Prabhupada is saying, I have given you enough for you to read and go back to Godhead, we should have full faith in that. We don't need to read any. Our Acharya is powerful enough for us to take us back to Godhead, isn't it? If you don't have that faith, I'm sorry. Our Acharyas are powerful enough. Again, we are not disrespecting other books. We have to be very careful. There are other great Acharyas outside, great saintly persons. We're not disrespecting. What we are saying, our Acharya, our father is powerful enough. And by having followed the instruction of our Acharya, you will surely go back to Godhead. According to Srimad Bhagavatam, the endeavor of philosophical speculator to write volumes of books on dry philosophy, devoid of Krishna consciousness, is entirely futile. The work of karmis who write volumes of books on economic development also falls in the category of atyahar. You go outside, there are so many books. And how many deals with the science of soul? Practically zero books. Practically zero. All on the bodily, how to develop your bodily sense gratification. Similarly, those who have no desire for Krishna consciousness and who are simply interested in possessing more and more material things, either in the shape of scientific knowledge or monetary gain, are all included under control of atyahara. Businessman rebounds as cobbler. You probably know the story. There was a businessman, very, very wealthy. He left his body. And because of his attachment to the wealth, he was born as a cobbler close to that house. But he somehow remembered his past memories. So he went back to the house. His sons were the owner now. And the cobbler, the poor person, said to his own sons in the previous life, said, oh, my dear sons, you are my sons, and this is my property. I have accumulated everything. And what did the sons do? Jute se mara. They were beating this cobbler with the shoes. So this father is getting beaten by his own sons with the shoe. So Prabhupada is saying, you're not going to take anything with you. Everything is going to get destroyed. Does not mean you should not have it, should not have too much attachment or too much endeavor to earn money. It's just going to get ruined. Then you'll be getting beaten by Maya here, sons. Okay. The last example Prabhupada gives of welfare work. Modern warfare waged between capitalists and communists is due to their avoiding the advice of Srila Rupa Goswami regarding atyahar. Simply transferring wealth from capitalists to communists cannot solve the problem of modern politics. So he's basically saying money belongs to Krishna, not to one person or other person of the society. He gives a beautiful example of $100 note lying on the road. So if I find a $100 note on the road, I keep it in my pocket. Who I am? I'm a thief. That money does not belong to me. I took that money. If I leave that money, if I do not use the money, I'm also not doing very well, because if I give that money, that $100 bill to the owner, then I'm the best person. Why? Because I have given the lost property of this person whom it belongs to. So what does it mean? Basically, any property, any possessions, any qualifications, anything here, it belongs to Krishna. And if we put that in the service of Krishna, we are not doing atyahar. Otherwise, we come into the clutches of atyahar, and that will lead to the next struggle, which is called prayas. Atyahar leads to over endeavor, which we'll talk next week. I'll stop here. It's 9:01. Any quick questions or comments? Everyone fully happy? Okay, I'll leave it here. Next Tuesday is Pandav Nirjala Ekadashi. So good luck. Try to follow. It's a very, very powerful Ekadashi. If you have done any mistakes during any Ekadashi of the year, it nullifies that effect. This is the statement of Krishna. So as much as possible for your body, try to do, and at least try to do more devotional service on next Tuesday. Okay, Sundar Gopal Prabhu, any other quick announcements?
Not really, Prabhu, not for this week.
Okay, so there will be no revision next week because we'll try to cover this verse next week, and then we can do the next. But please read the verses which Sundar Gopal Prabhuji can take care of, who's going to read the verses. And if your turn is there, please try to join the class on that time. It's nice. Okay, Hare Krishna, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srila Rupa Goswami ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.